pray, please join in singing with me so we can all invite Krishna to our space. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtantya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gora Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gora Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. How are you all feeling today? How's your mood? Everything okay? Besides the fact that we are here in material world, I hope you're fine and all disengaged in devotional service. Like Shri S. Prabhu every time is sharing the screen for us. And Mataji Lakshmi Jaya as well. He's always engaged in service. So we're going to begin with reading the stories about Guru Maharaj. The dear devotees you would like to read today, please raise your hand so I know that you're available and would like to read. Navadnita.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. What was Radhanath Swami still doing inside? As I waited outside to have a last word with him, I wondered what Radhanath Swami was still doing in his room. His luggage was already out and a chauffeured car waited for him at the gates. He was returning to Mumbai after a 3 day spiritual retreat, which had just concluded with this discourse to a crowd of 3,000 in the Idli clans of Mafat, Mafatlal Bangla. Impatience took me over, and I slightly pushed open the unbolted door to have a peep. I was stunned. Radhana Swami was going around picking up scraps strewn on the floor. As I tried to close the door again, it creaked, inviting Radhana Swami's inquisitive glance. When he saw me, he called me in. Then, as if explaining his action, he said, "We should vacate the room cleaner than what it was when we first occupied it." His civic sense apart, I was enthralled by his simplicity. But for my impatience, neither me nor the 3,000 people waiting outside to see him off, nor anyone else on the planet except for God, would have ever known what he was doing behind those closed doors. And yet he delighted in that menial service. Dr. Ashok Shetty Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much for
Krishna.
reading
Thank you
that.
so much, Mataji.
Always engaged in any devotional service. I was just watching some videos that devotees were sharing in New York in the Bhakti Center, not the Bhakti Center, but at the 22nd Avenue, the Matchless Gift, the place where it all began, the first place which Srila Prabhupada was preaching in. And now there was refurbishment and there was an opportunity. There were like celebration and many devotees came along to celebrate, and I just was watching Guru Maharaj going around this place, looking at every corner, making sure that everything is so nice and neat. It's just, you can see how much love he's putting in every project, and especially in the project of his Guru Maharaj. So much care. Um, Hare Krishna, I don't know exactly who is it, but you're welcome
Yes,
to
Hare
the
Krishna.
Hare
Dandavat Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu.
It's Radhanath Swami always loving and caring. It's not unusual to find Radhanath Swami to be in the midst of important engagements but still be conscious of apparently simpler things in life. However, on this occasion, my opinion was nearly challenged. Radhanath Swami's secretary was sick and had to be admitted in the hospital. I was trying to fill in the gap and I was expecting that why Radhanath Swami is not asking anything about his secretary. Does he care about him or is he just unconcerned? Fortunately, my skepticism could not last longer. It was a warm evening and Radhanath Swami had just returned after a very important meeting with some distinguished citizens of Mumbai. I was arranging for a few last things of the day and Radhanath Swami was about to take rest when he suddenly asked me about his secretary. I explained to him how he was in the hospital and was now recuperating. I lost it. Yeah, I especially told him that physically he is very weak. I especially told him that physically he is very weak. Radhana Swami, while sipping his glass of milk, very gently and with an air of humor said, "That's how I always feel." And he began to laugh. I was immediately reminded of the extraordinary sacrifices that Radhana Swami has done in his life in order to serve others. At times, even at the cost of his health. However, this was not enough. A more heart melting experience awaited me when Radhana Swami asked me, "How are you?" And I replied that I was fine. He continued and said, "Is there anything I can do for you? For a moment, I was speechless. Here was a man of such spiritual caliber, interacting with so many important people of society, but his heart delighted in the simple aspects of life. This interaction has left a deep impression in my psyche, and certainly I can no more afford to be skeptical about his caring and loving demeanor towards one and all. Abhishek Tyagi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. You can read one more story and then move to the book. Meter? Book? Meter?
Um, is Neetu Mataji wishes to enable.
Neetu Mataji, you can start reading. Hare Krishna Mataji, am I audible now?
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Radhanath Swami bears the burden of love. Scene 1. Radhanath Swami returns to the banks in the icy cold waters of the Alaknanda river, but his clothes, they are not there where he had left them. A pilgrim comes up and brags that those clothes are now spotlessly clean. Gleefully, he points in the direction where he spread out the clothes on a rock for drying. The chilly winds are far from being cooperative. Under their sway, the moist clothes have frozen into a crisp, icy wear. Radhanath Swami puts them on with no complaints. The next day, we hear he's sick. Scene 2. Outside Radhanath Swami's guest house, room in Badrinath, crowds impatiently clamor. His followers have gathered and want to render some service to their Guru. One follower appears out of the blue and barges into the room. As others watch on, he quietly places his blanket upon Radhanath Swami, whose from lies curled beneath a single blanket. With a content smile, he walks out. The crowds disperse, only to resemble after minutes, but now each one is carrying a blanket. In hushed voices, they communicate to form a single line that leads to Radhanath Swami's room. Ceremoniously, each follower enters and drapes their guru with a blanket, an offering of love. Fortunately, in 1990, when this incident occurred, only 50 odd of Radhanath Swami's followers were on this pilgrimage with Radhanath Swami. Very soon, it is a hillock of blankets over the bedstead, and buried beneath is Radhanath Swami. The followers wait outside, their chanting of mantras droning on. They await the recovery of their guru. Hours pass by. The hillock slightly trembles. The droning ebbs into an air silence. Everyone is transfixed in the sight of the shaking hillock. As some 100 eyes watch on, Radhanath Swami crawls out from beneath, sweltering. How's your cold now? A concerned voice inquires from Radhanath Swami. Cold? I had a stomach ache. Vishaka Priya Devi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for reading. Mataji Arati, I saw that you raised your hand earlier. Are you available now?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Janva Kripa Mataji, you can read next after Mataji Arati. Is it okay?
Hare Krishna.
You can
Hare
read
Krishna,
after
Dandavat
Mataji
Pranam.
Arati. Mataji Arati
Dandavat
first
Pranam,
and then
Mataji.
you. Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
To serve a personal Lord with unconditional love in his eternal abode. One afternoon, a guest asked Sri Prabhupada this very question: is God formless and impersonal, or does he have form and personality? The chattering of birds, screeching of monkeys, and honking of distant rickshaw horns were silenced by the anticipation in my heart. I sat up with attention, eager to hear his answer. Srila Prabhupada slowly leaned forward, his face perfectly relaxed, and full lips curved downward at the edges. Sitting cross-legged on the floor, his elbow rested on the low table in front of him, and his hands were clasped together under his chin. With a grave gaze, he quoted from the Vedas and explained, "We must first understand the inconceivable nature of God. The Supreme God is simultaneously personal and impersonal. It is an eternal truth that He is both formless and that He has an eternal blissful form. I felt a warm, peaceful sensation float by chest. With one hand, Srila Prabhupada stretched his index finger upward. The Lord, impersonal, all-pervading energy is called Brahman, and Brahman is the personal form of God, who is the energetic, source and never under the influence of illusion. Take for example the sun. The form of the sun as a planet and the formless sunlight can never be separated, as they exist simultaneously. They are different aspect of the sun. Similarly, there are two different schools of transcendentalists who focus on different aspects of the one truth. The impersonalists strive to attain liberation in the Lord impersonal formless light, while the personalities strive for eternal loving service to the Lord's all attractive form. There is no contradiction. Similarly, the soul is a part and the parcel of the Lord, simultaneously one with God and different from God. Qualitatively, we are one with God, being eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. But quantitatively, we are always but a part, just as the sun ray is but a tiny part of the sun, and yet has the same qualities as the sun. We are both one with God and different from God. God is the independent controller, but when the soul misuses his God given independence, he forgets his relation to the Lord and falls into illusion and subsequent suffering. Leaning back against the wall, he tilted his head slightly and gazed directly into my eyes. The the two schools, personalities and impersonalities, both approach different aspects of the one God. He went on to explain how Krishna is form qualities, personality, and abode with were unlimited, and that all God, he had simply revealed himself in a different way at different times. How beautiful! With this simple and intelligent word, Srila Prabhupada has harmonized two apparently opposing views. As I listened to him, tears of appreciation welled up in my eyes. Yes, now it all makes so much sense. I thought a dilemma that had confused my progress was now completely removed. A spontaneous, joyous smile stretched across my face. Srila Prabhupada reciprocated with a smile too, one endowed with both wisdom and serenity. One guest asked him, "Are you the Guru of the world?" Srila Prabhupada meekly bowed his head and cast his eyes toward the floor. "I am everybody's servant," he said. "That's all. I found a special charm in this exchange." Srila Prabhupada was so unpretentious, so free and comfortable in all that he did and said. I recalled the humility of dear Ghanshyam, who had lived in a hallway outside a closest for 50 years. Srila Prabhupada was a learned scholar, eloquent orator, and powerful yogi who had founded a worldwide society with thousands of followers. Dignitaries came to honor him daily. Still, that natural spirit of humility was present. I am small. God is everything. Paradoxically, that humility empowered him with unlimited confidence and determinations. After the meeting, I stood up and offered Srila Prabhupada a rose. He smelled it and graciously bowed his head, departing from the house. I wandered back to the Yamuna, elated Prabhupada's word had put the puzzle of personalism and impersonalism together, piece by piece, and in so many other ways. He had impressed me deeply. But who is this amazing man? I wonder, what is he like as a person?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading.
Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji Arti, your turn.
Shall I continue?
No, it's Mataji Arti.
Read after this.
Okay, sure. Amala Bhakti Mataji. Are you available now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
In December, the days were growing shorter, and by late afternoon, the temperature dropping. As I wrapped a cloth over my head and started down the pilgrim's path to the river Yamuna, the life of the forest stirred around me. Birds and peacocks warbled their evening songs. Farmers returned from the fields, and Vrajbasi women, clad in orange, green, and yellow saris, glided. I just can't read. Glided along the path with huge pots of water. Balanced on their heads. Suddenly, I spotted a familiar figure ahead. It was... just a sec, Mataji. Suddenly, I spotted a familiar figure ahead. It was Shyam Sundar, the devotee who had fed me spiritual food in Amsterdam and taken such an interest in my well-being in Bombay. Even from behind, I recognized this tall American who served as Srila Prabhupada's personal secretary. His right hand was buried in a bag of beads, and he was chanting as he advanced towards the river. I quickened my pace to catch up and shouted his name. He turned to look, and a smile of recognition flashed across his face. Ah, Richard, what do they call you now? Some people call me Krishna Das. He wrapped his long arm around my shoulder and pulled me close. So, Krishnadas, I hear you have been living in Vrindavan for a while now. It's so great to see you again. We stood for a moment on the path, exchanging pleasantries. Something told me that this man in time would come to own a special corner in my heart. It seemed as though I had known him forever. Srila Prabhupada likes you very much, he volunteered. He often asks about you. You are very fortunate to be so close to him, I said, elated. And every day too, I can't even imagine. Yea, he laughed modestly. Sometimes I pinch myself to see if I'm dreaming. You know, I've been around him for nearly 4 years, and now he just seems to get younger and more beautiful every day. He's always fresh. I've never even seen him asleep. Do you remember the first time you saw him? I asked. I was eager to hear as much about Prabhupada as I could and to understand how others had decided to change their lives so radically to follow him. On the river bank, sitting cross-legged, Shyam Sundar rocked slowly back and forth. It was in Haight-Ashbury, San Francisco, January 1967, when my friends and I had put together this big rock and roll dance at the Avalon Ballroom. We called it a mantra rock dance. Everyone was there to welcome the Swami to the West Coast. The Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane, Canned Heat, Quicksilver, and Moby Grape, they all played. Even Allen Ginsberg, Timothy Leary, and Ken Kesey were there. All the hippie heroes came. Shyam Sundar became excited and his body rocked faster. Picture this scene. The whole place is pulsating with strobe lights and rock and roll, packed with wild, long-haired kids, most of them on acid. Then about midnight, Srila Prabhupada walks quietly into the dark stage and sits down cross-legged on a elevated seat. The place falls silent. Srila Prabhupada begins humbly chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. A spotlight finally locates him, and gradually the crowd joins in the chanting. Then one by one, the rock groups come on stage to join in, and the rest is history. For 2 hours, Prabhupada led the most incredible kirtan you can imagine. When he danced with his arms upraised, he won the hearts of thousands, or as he put it later, I've turned hippies into happies. I tried to imagine Srila Prabhupada living in Haight-Ashbury, the world capital of the hippie culture. Gary and I had spent some time there in 1968. From what I remembered, it was like a universe unto itself, filled with peace-loving hippies, starry-eyed seekers, drug dealers, junkies, tourists, entrepreneurs, angels roaring up and down. Hate Street, on their majestic chrome-plated Harleys. I just couldn't imagine the elderly saint from Vrindavan living there. How long did he stay? I asked. 4 months. He lived with us, American kids. He would hardly understand what the We could hardly understand what the Swami was telling us. All we knew was that we were in love with him. This beautiful person sitting in a small apartment above a laundromat who was happy to meet anyone who came to see him. And what really got me was that he was always joking. Sometimes he would lie back and laugh so hard that all of his teeth would show and tears would roll down his face. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Mataji. Mataji, are you available now? Are you ready
Yes,
to read?
Mataji.
Wonderful.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
The riverbank was beginning to grow dark and chilly. The air filling with wood smoke from village cooking fire. I suggested we walk along the river to Keshi Ghat. We both rose to our feet and he dusted off his backpack. As we walked along, Shyam Sundar continued, telling me how Prabhupada won the hearts of the Beatles and especially George Harrison, and how devotees become such close friends with the superstars residing in John Lennon's home for months. How could that happen, if not by divine providence? He asked. All I could do was smile. And Prabhupada did not want anything from this guy. He just wanted to give them the secret of life. In the first meeting with John and George, Prabhupada saw into their hearts and he was so charming, telling them very simply that Krishna is the Supreme Person, describing what he looked like, what he said and did, how much he loved music and singing and dancing. And then he promised them they could meet Krishna face to face. Stopping in my tracks, I could not believe I was hearing about the Beatles while walking along the bank of the Yamuna River in Vrindavan. I just had to laugh. Shyam Sundar stopped for a moment, excited to tell the story. A tear streamed down his cheek as he shuddered. I remember before their first meeting, George whispered to me outside Prabhupada's door that he was really scared, more so than going on Eid Sullivan or meeting Elvish. But when he bowed down and Prabhupada greeted him heartily, it was like watching two ancient friends reunited, taking up where they left off. On the way out after that first meeting, George turned to me and said, "Yes, Prabhupada is the real." It had been over a year since I had last listened to rock and roll music. 10,000 miles from home, in a village in India, it had been the farthest thing from my mind. Still, I relished the idea that George Harrison of the Beatles was taking his spiritual life so seriously. I was feeling him to be a brother, sharing my cherished ideals. What a small and wonderful world, I thought. As I sat on the steps at Keshighat with my new friend, I observed meteor showers to the north. Shyam Sundar looked up and began telling me about Srila Prabhupada's visit to Russia. In those years, because of the Iron Curtain, nobody could get into Russia. But once again, Krishna paved the way to facilitate his devotees' desire. We had no plan, no proper food. We stayed in tiny, ill-lit rooms, and there was an overall depressing atmosphere of fear and depression and gloom. What were we going to do for 5 days? Shyamsundar went on to say that he had been wandering around Red Square when he met the son of the Indian ambassador and a young Russian man named Anatoly who came back to the hotel to meet the Guru. For 3 days and nights, Anatoly stayed at Prabhupada's side and absorbed like a sponge everything Prabhupada taught him. Prabhupada was full of charm and movement, but also precision as he taught. Anatoly, the entire Krishna consciousness process. Then we left Moscow, Prabhupada and I together. But from that seed, now Krishna's teaching are spreading like wildfire underground behind the iron curtain. Looking upstream into the horizon, I recall growing up in America, indoctrinated with fear of the Russians. As school children, we had air-raid drills and were trained to duck under our desks in the event of a Russian bomb attack. In fact, several of the wealthier families in my neighborhood built fully stocked nuclear bomb shelters in their backyards, anticipating such an attack from Russia. Yet, in the height of the Cold War, Shamsundar and Srila Prabhupada were in Moscow blissfully teaching the path of Bhakti Yoga to a Russian. Why has Srila Prabhupada brought all you Western devotees to India? Shamsundar looked thoughtfully into the distance before answering. Prabhupada has often told us that real religion in this country is Veni. Instead of instead of God, he says, people want televisions and cars. I thought of the false guru I had met in Janakpur whose highest ambition was to be a rich American. So I think he came back here and brought some of us along to say to the Indian people, this see, these Western boys and girls have everything, TV and cars, more than you will ever have. And they were not happy until they found Krishna. You have something they want. Krishna, should ex- so you should export Krishna. Prabhupada has often said that with India's philosophy and America's wealth, the world can really prosper. He calls us Western devotees with dancing white elephants.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading.
Thank you, Mataji.
Sadhupriya Prabhu.
Me, Mataji?
Yes.
Okay. I laughed and considered the brilliance of synthesizing Eastern philosophy with Western will and technology. I realized I had been so immersed in searching for God in my own life that thoughts of how to bring spirituality to others were far from my mind. I asked, how are the people of India receiving all of you? Here in India, wherever we go, there are festivals of joy to greet us. But sometimes Srila Prabhupada is criticized to the point of death, threats for giving initiation to Westerners, ignoring the caste system, or for engaging women in priestly duties. This impressed me. During my travels in India, I had witnessed oppression to the lower caste and women, and it had saddened me. Srila Prabhupada's courage to fight against it inspired me. Shamsundar continued. Srila Prabhupada is truly a revolutionary. He bent down to splash some river water on his face to refresh himself, and then stood up and stretched. It's really a pleasure to meet with you tonight. Is there anything else I can do for you? What can I say? I rose to my feet. I was so grateful. I placed my hand on his shoulder. But I've taken so much of your time. I'll see you in class tomorrow. Ramchandra smiled. Thank you. You're right. I had better be getting back. He reached down and took my hand in his. Srila Prabhupada will be very happy to hear that you and I met. As I watched him hasten away, I felt immense gratitude and, along with that, a sense of blooming curiosity. Should I continue, Madhavi? In the
Yes.
process, in the precious quiet moments just before dawn, it was natural to feel close to God. Rising from the bank of the river, I left for the morning lecture. Everything is potentially spiritual, Srila Prabhupada began, as if picking up from my own walking thoughts. Everything is the energy of the Lord. Material consciousness is to forget an object's relationship with God. Spiritual consciousness is to see everything in relation to God and utilize everything in devotional service. Prabhupada tapped the microphone to make his point. Let us take this microphone, for example. If it is used to sing songs about mundane passion, it is material. If, however, it is used to sing the glories of the Lord, it is spiritual. It's all a matter of consciousness. We want to use everything for a spiritual cause. Bhakti Yoga is the art of transforming material energy into spiritual energy through the spirit of devotion. Like an earthquake, his words shook my world. This concept is revolutionary, I thought. It challenges the very core of my idea of detachment. I had assumed detachment meant to give up everything and live with nothing but the barest minimum to survive. When I honestly searched deep into my heart, I had to admit that in a subtle way, I was proud of the way I had been living in India and even thought it superior to the way people lived in the West. But perhaps this idea of detachment is just another product of self-deceiving ego, inducing me to feel superior to others. My reality was shaken. However, it was easy to think of the beautiful natural surroundings in Vrindavan and the temples to the deities as spiritual. But a microphone? I thought of how I had judged Prabhupada's Western followers for carrying cameras and tape recorders.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Already.
Thank you, Mataji.
Anyone else? Do you just wish to continue? Or is it time left? Did you actually join?
Yes, Mataji. How foolish it was of me to look down on them, feeling that I was better because of my ascetic lifestyle. I now understand that detachment is only sacred to the degree it fosters humility, respect, and love. In few words, Srila Prabhupada had just crushed my illusion. My ego felt battered, and yet I was thankful. It is said that a saintly personality can be softer than a rose or harder than a thunderbolt. This morning, one guest made excuse after excuse to defend his immoralities and spiritual weaknesses. Srila Prabhupada listened. Then his voice rose like thunder. If you are weak, rectify it. If you have no determination, you have no character. What makes you different from an animal? The man shrunk like a punctured balloon. Going down, he promised to do what he knew was right. When required, Srila Prabhupada could be very strict to emphasize the urgency of a person's predicament. Like a scalpel in the hands of an expert surgeon, his strong words cut only to heal. Or, as he himself explained, a spiritual teacher is required to have the courage of a British general and the heart of a Bengali mother. Srila Prabhupada went on to say, addressing us all in a pleading tone, when a drop of water falls from the clouds, it is transparent, but in contact with dirt, it loses its transparency. Through filtration, we can bring it back into to its original quality. Similarly, our consciousness is originally pure, but in contact with material energy, it has lost its transparency. By chanting the names of the Lord, we can revive our natural blissful state. He explained how we must rise above sectarianism and understand that God had many names and had invested divine powers within all of them. The name Krishna means all attractive, he said. He is all attractive because he is the reservoir of all beauty, knowledge, strength, wealth, fame, and renunciation. Possessing a particle of these qualities makes a person great. God is great because He is the origin of all of those opulences and possesses them without limit. This is what is meant by Supreme Personality of Godhead. He went on to explain that it was a natural process. The more we hear about Krishna, the more the soul's dormant attraction to him is awakened. The path of bhakti is centered around hearing about Krishna and chanting his holy names. As our love awakens, so does our enthusiasm to serve. Often I had heard the words, God is great, but this explanation of how he was great thrilled me. Chills ran through my body. That evening, I sat on the hill crowned by the ancient Madan Mohan temple overlooking the river Yamuna. I read a prayer written by Srila Prabhupada when he was stranded on the cargo ship in the middle of the ocean on his voyage to America. 70 years old, he had endured consecutive heart attacks on the trip. He had only $7 in Indian currency and did not know a single soul outside of India. After 30 days at sea, he approached the Boston harbor where he composed a personal prayer to Lord Krishna. Years later, his followers happened to find it in an old trunk. In the solitude of that mountain top, the leaves of the trees rustled in the wind, and in the distance I heard the lowing of cows and boatmen calling out to each other. I meditated in the stillness of my mind on a few verses from what are now called the Jaladuta prayers, which read as follows. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. But I guess you have some business here, otherwise, why would you bring me to this place? Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So, if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel engladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. O Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance, O Lord, make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhaktivedanta, one who possesses devotion and knowledge. And now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, 18th of September 1965. From the hilltop, I gazed down toward the Yamuna as she would across the plains. As I meditated on Srila Prabhupada's prayer, my thoughts drifted to the parallels between my arduous journey from America to India in search of teachers to receive knowledge about God, and Srila Prabhupada's incredible voyage from India to America in search of students to impart knowledge about God. Perhaps God, I thought, reveals true love to the world through the lives of those who love Him. In Prabhupada's prayer, I found humility springing from the heart of a man who had forsaken everything for the spiritual welfare of others. An aged man who was seriously ill, penniless, and alone in a foreign land, begging God for only one blessing to be used as an instrument of God's mercy. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading. The devotees, we're going to stop reading here today. I'm going to discuss now. If you have any realizations, any intakes from today reading, something that inspired you, kindly share. You can just unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to share that reading this in the Association of the Devotees is just completely different experience, and we're nearing the end of the book, so perhaps you wanted to share as well, announce as well. But I was thinking that we could even read the same book over, but of course there are other books we should read also, and maybe we can come back to the journey home. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Yes, Srila Prabhu, definitely reading an association of devotees and discussing is very important because there has to be in studying scriptures. It is explained that we need not only to read, but we need to um, speak also what we've heard and meditate on it afterwards. Otherwise, the process will not be as effective. So it is important for us to speak what we hear.
I also wanted to share that I heard once in a Bhagavatam class that we start with Kirtan, and Kirtan opens the ears, and then there's a lecture. So all the everything we hear in the lecture can enter into our heart, and then perhaps we should seal it with prasadam. So maybe one day we can have an in-person sangha about our book reading. Hare Krishna.
That would be wonderful. Um, I don't even know what is that place. And where is the time when we can all meet? Only
I
our strong desire can make it happen, right?
I would I would I would suggest Govardhan village, but that's
I would love to. Haven't been there yet. That's my dream.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji Gaura Priya. Happy to see you. I see that Sadhu-Priya Prabhu is mentioning The Journey Within. We have already read The Journey Within. This was the first book we began with. So the next book, what is it called? Mataji Lakshmi Vijaya, we said. We're thinking of reading.
Evolve.
Evolve, yeah. So we'll read Evolve, then we'll see what's next. And then, of course, we'll repeat the books over and over again, but first we'll try to read what we haven't read yet. So I see like everybody got activated about us meeting up. So yes, Prabhu, you brought a good subject. Everybody is motivated now.
I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think we should share who's going to the yatra. I'm not, unfortunately, but
I
some
don't
of us
either.
can
I
make.
really wish. I haven't. Yeah. So if anybody is going, yeah, maybe we can write in chat and just plan to meet. Yes, Mataji Lakshmi Jai, you want to say something?
No, Mataji, I am also not able to go to Yatra this year due to health problems.
Well, we wish you to be able to next year.
Yes, Mataji, we will all pray that we will be able to go to Yatra next year and we can have a personal sangha with everyone.
Yeah, only by Guru Maharaj's mercy, right? We can do it. Pray to him very sincerely. Anyone else, dear devotees, wishes to share something about what we read today? Anything inspiring? I wanted to share one aspect that I've learned recently about the impersonalism and personalism, because today in the beginning of our reading we actually were mentioning the subject of impersonalism, and I've learned something that I never looked at it in this perspective before. Our really basic things like just being in the chat, just entering one new chat, and leaving new chat, or coming inside our Zoom meeting or any other online meeting and leaving, how important it is to actually try to be involved, engaged, and feel like you're entering a room with other devotees, whether it is a chat or like a Zoom call. It is like you're coming into a room with other devotees. So it's so important to try our best to switch on our cameras, to actually pay attention who's reading and what they're saying. And, many times we notice how, I'm sure we've done this many times too, of how we enter one chat without even saying anything, because there's so many devotees, nobody will know who you are, and nobody cares, right? And so you don't even try to pay attention, and then you leave, and nobody knows you were there. So this impersonal aspect of us in these basic things transfer to our relationship with Krishna as well, So if we're like this in our everyday life, we tend to be on the phone when we're talking with somebody else, and then we just remain living like we are now, on this personal level, and then we can never really even serve Krishna, because we don't even see him. We don't see him around us. We don't see him as a Paramatma in every soul. We don't see him when we come in front of the deities. We just don't see it. So with these little things of how we engage in our everyday life with people around us in these chats who are behind all of this, like photos. They're real other devotees who are also struggling in this material world, who are also searching for God, who are also need our each other's association support. So I know it could be hard for us in the beginning to just even start talking, sharing about yourself something. We're not all like so outgoing, and we have our own like fears and feeling uncomfortable and feeling shy and so on. And when I've learned it, I started trying to overcome my fears for the sake of, like higher desire, like I would like to be personal to Krishna. I really would like to, see him as a person, not just, like a personal aspect of Brahmajyoti and just somewhere here. Because when we see it in this way, we don't even need to serve, right? We're just maybe merged with him and there is no relationship, there is no service. So just wanted to share with you. Maybe it can also help you on your path and in your relationship with Krishna. What are your thoughts, dear devotees? We have a few more minutes left.
Introduction time. Everyone can turn on their voice and video both, and then introduce themselves, where they are from, and that would be a nice thing to get to know each other.
Thank you, Anuradha Mataji. It was very inspiring to hear from you about the wonderful experience. I mean, a wonderful feeling of the difference between the personalism and imperialism. It is very practical. I really admire it, and thank you so much for sharing with us. I personally feel the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your feedback, Prabhu. In reality, it's not my realizations. I'm not that intelligent to come up to these ideas. It's, other senior devotees who shared this with me, and I just realized how many times I did this. Like I go in one chat, somebody's writing there, they're serving me, they're sharing, and I'm like just taking, and not giving anything back. And I felt like so bad when I've learned this in the beginning. So I'm trying to take my little steps. So I wanted to share with you also, dear devotees. It's definitely not my intelligence. It's not my. So to Priya Prabhu, you wanted to share something?
Thank you. Yeah, Mataji. Thank you very much for sharing, because we are also on the same boat. We also realize what you said. Is there have been quite a lot of Zoom meetings. We have been also observing quite a lot of things. But in usually we have been asked to keep the camera off and are muted, this phone to be muted. From the outside, that is the only reason there is for not coming over that way. But thank you, Mataji. Your realizations are really perfect.
Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, I understand. We all have different circumstances in life and not always able to switch on our cameras or to speak and so on. And ultimately, it's not me checking or some other, teacher checking if we're another like a call, or even our Guru Maharaj is checking. It's all about our relationship with Krishna. He knows how much we are trying. We're reading something and we fully focused as much as according to our abilities at this moment in time. If we can sit down and actually read and pay attention, we can remember and focus and come out with realization so much more than if we just listening while doing something else. And again, I understand it's not always possible in our busy life. We have so many services towards our family members and other engagements, but Krishna sees everything. He's in our heart. There's no way for us to hide. So he knows if we're doing our best, or we're trying a little, or we're trying a little more. Anyone else wish to say something? I hope you're all feeling bad. I hope I didn't hurt anybody by my words. I didn't try to preach to you or tell you what to do. I just wanted to share my little experience, understanding.
There's a Hare Krishna. Please, Gauripriya Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hi,
Mataji, apologies.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisance of you all. Thank you so much for your service. I just wanted to share, like to say also regarding this, what just now Anuradha Lila Mataji said regarding the personal and impersonal attitude about the entering anyone's chat. This type of, not type, but this theme, so to say, now it's going deeper and deeper in also our groups here, even not only in Zoom call, not about the chats, but also in the like day-to-day talking online with people, just sending some pictures or just sending some smiles. This type of communication we need just to see, like, it's simple, just be sincere to yourself and to others. Which kind of relationship are you searching for? Are you searching for the deep personal relationship, or are you searching for some informative relationship, or just, okay, thank you for information, or okay, I've seen your message, just smile, or something like that? Or it's really like you waking up an interest to what has been shared, because some people like sharing their hearts. So it's like also Krishna, how can Krishna himself open in front of you if you are not that much interested into it and not interested in his this is his nature, his creation, his dears, his devotees. Even those who are, so to say, non-devotees, they are still devotees, but who have forgotten about it. So this is like, it's actually huge. Thank you so much for sharing it. It's very much important. Even some like 2-3 weeks back, I had a dream. I'm not sure who has come, but the one who has come, I was sitting in the chair, and the personality who was nearby, he was showing in the on the laptop, not saying anything, but he was showing this person, bow. Then somebody else is appearing, this person, bow. Like it was something amazing. Don't know who was that person, but I was feeling like as though Gauranga Mahaprabhu has approached by showing, you have to bow to each and every personality. If not directly, do it from the heart. Be respectful. It's important. It's important for you. It's important for me. So it's amazing. It's very much important. This type of personal, respectful attitude. It's the base of relationship, which I'm sure Guru Maharaj wanted. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing also what you've been practicing or how you've been feeling yourself too. And it made me think also how many times we go to the temple and we just go, like for example, for Mangala Arati, and everybody's singing, everybody's just looking at the deities, right? And then everybody leaves. We don't even have many times time to communicate, right? Maybe it doesn't happen in communities where there are many devotees living, they maybe have more time to communicate afterwards. But like when I lived in Alachua, Florida, when I was I was living in the females ashram there, it was like this. After the program, everybody runs away doing their own services, and like nobody communicates. So we don't even have these personal relationships with anybody. So if we, and through only relationships we can grow, because somebody can tell you who you are in reality, can tell you your, points where you still need to grow. And we don't tend to want to hear anything wrong about us, right? We only want to hear praises. So, but these people are all helping us to grow, and if we of course see it as a gift and as something that Krishna is helping us to develop, then we can actually grow. And another point about chats you were mentioning, like, yeah, if we send a smile, and so we tend to also nowadays use a lot of this, I'm not sure how to pronounce properly emoticons or whatever, like all of these different flowers and this and that, and they're great, right? As well, all of these like different tiny pictures, they're also great. They kind of enhance the picture, but they make us lose the words as well. Many times we just say, just send one little thing, and including me, I'm not saying I don't use them, I don't do it, but it's like we don't even we use them to do something fast and to just say, okay, bye, here's a heart, and it's like, and no real, like, how did you feel after the, like you said, after the whatever somebody said, so it's something like, it's deep meditation, like to do it like this for every single person who writes you a message, who sends you something, and wherever you are. So it's like constant reminder about, like, you're engaging right now with a real person and what you can give back. We're just ignoring it as well, like we're majority of us like have a tendency to do. And also, it reminds me of bowing, is how, Guru Maharaj was doing every time I see him, like bowing to every single person, looking in his eyes, and just giving you time right now. And it's not like, hello everybody, and straight away starts, speaking, sharing whatever he knows, but actually approaching every one of us as, our souls. It is some like wonderful example for me personally, and a room for growth, huge room for growth for me. Okay, so. She's Prabhu.
Yeah, Lakshmi Vijay Mataji was going to say something also.
I just wanted to say something from what we have read today. Like our Guru Maharaj was showing us an example that listening from other devotees about the spiritual master. So that I just wanted to bring it up. So how Maharaj was relishing Prabhupada's pastimes when Shamsundar Prabhu was telling him, and Maharaj was immediately connecting himself and he was learning all that he was longing. It is coming from Srila Prabhupada, and that is one thing we all should learn, because we are all also are meeting here together to learn about our Guru Maharaj and follow in his footsteps. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It's a wonderful point. We have to pay attention to. Yeah, we definitely can learn from each other, and not only with devotees, right? Every person that we met, we can learn something. That we meet, we can learn something from. Well, our time has passed so much more than normally. So if nobody has anything else to say, we can conclude. What do you think?
Yes, Mataji, we could go on, but I think we should conclude.
Vanchakaupatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for being here today. Appreciate your association so much. Hope to see you next week.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.